and I am the owner of the Expedito Enlightenment Center, which is right in West Palm Beach, right up the road on Okeechobee Boulevard. I welcome you to come by. The energy is fantastic. If you were to look at my phone, you would see that there's this beautiful purple light that is radiating outside the center that is captured by the video camera. And you can actually see the energy change. And we captured it on the camera. And what I love about the Expedito Enlightenment Center is that people from all walks of life can come through. I have a full array of products that I hand blend. I'm a product artisan. I create essential blends to assist you on your spiritual journey. And we all know that when we are not in alignment within, sometimes we need an external something to give us a little boost. And we look outward. We've been trained to look outward. So we are on the process of this leading edge of energy on the planet. And we're all ramping up to be the best possible beings that we've ever come to be. And you chose to show up. I chose to show up. It was not in my plan. How many of you have a plan? It wasn't in my plan to be doing this. This isn't what I thought I'd do. I was on my way to be a VP in a corporation. And on my journey, I realized that I was doing a lot of connections and meeting a lot of people, closing $16 million deals, just all fun stuff. And I thought I had it made. And maybe some of you can relate to this, that your job, your title, was starting to define you. The rat race of life was starting to define you. So to me, and if you've ever been in an environment where you have to get promoted to get a raise, when you have to meet expectations and pass a review, they determine your worth. And I'll tell you what, like, I have a name tag, right? Well, I'm a speaker. So people would put labels on other people. You were the good employee, you were the team player. Oh, don't ask her to go. Ask him to go. So I was watching this dynamic unfold. Like all of us, when you're in that, I need to succeed in life, I need to survive in life, you rise to the occasion. So I jumped up higher, hit a different demographic of a treadmill, and I kept on going. But what was wonderful about my job is that I could work from anywhere, because I traveled. So I decided I was going to move to Florida. And my whole world changed. You see, what the universe is waiting for is for you to issue a decree. For you to issue some words, or have an idea, or have a direction, and say, I'm going here. So that everything else in the universe can start to line up to put you on track to where you are going to be next. Not where you're meant to be, because if I say where you're meant to be, that indicates a final destination. This is not the Starship Enterprise. We are always evolving. So there's no real ending. We're always waiting for something else to happen. So I made a decision to move to Florida. I thought it was the best decision I could ever make. I was going to have it made. Getting on a plane, flying all over the country, sometimes out of the country, getting really good commission checks. It was going to be wonderful. And have palm trees in the background. So while all my coworkers were freezing up north or wherever else they were, I was going to be sitting by a pool on my laptop talking in the palm trees. And it was going to be so beautiful. So I arrived in August of 2004. I made a plan. Everyone thought I was crazy. They said, why are you going to Florida? I said, I don't know anybody, but I know I like the weather, and I'm going to make friends with palm trees, and I went. And somehow, I don't even know how this happened, I was able to convince my ex-husband to let me take my child, and it all fell into place. And that's how you know you're doing the right thing, everyone. When all of a sudden, things that would be resistance line up. I'm like, who are you? What have you done to my ex-husband? But that's okay. We're going to take this and run with it. So I moved, I got settled, the hurricanes came. Oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. But I was okay. Christopher Columbus came, October 12th. And I was walking. And I decided I wanted to have lunch. And I sat down at a table, and then I started to do this thing about money that we all do. I wanted to manifest money. And I started to think about money. Have you ever sat there and said, oh, I only have this much. I want to have this much. Now that I moved, I need more money. I need this. I need that. And you start to create this dynamic in your mind of how you need more and what changes you want to make. And I started to plan. Oh, not a good idea. And I said, I need more money. Maybe I need 5,000, maybe I need 10,000. How am I going to manifest that? And I got up from the chair. And I took 2 steps, and I felt someone push me. Oh, got your attention. Somebody pushed you? Nobody was there. It was like this energetic force said, oh, here you go. We're going to have to take you out of your head. We're going to put you down. You need some reconsideration. So I fell. Now, anyone who falls knows the first thing you want to do is pop right back up because you're like so embarrassed. And I popped back up and I was like, oh my God, I really hurt. And I said, no. So that began a journey of being unwell. And I went to doctors, and doctors said, you're never going to wear heels again. We need to operate on your neck. We need to operate on your thoracic area. We need to operate on your lower back. Oh, good God, you're a mess. And I began to feed into that. And they began to tell me these things. And the more they talked to me and the more they worked on me, the worse I felt. Words have power. Thoughts have power. I was starting to give the external world more power than what I had learned from my spiritual teacher. And I saw my spiritual teacher just touch someone and their cancer was healed. An amazing individual that I met in a computer store, because remember, I was a corporate girl. So when I asked him, do you think I'm going to do what you do? He would say, you're on track to be a VP. And I'd say, yes, that's right. I'm going to be a VP. This is so exciting. And now I'm flat on my back in my bed. I can't get on the plane to go to the Philippines and work with my clients at Chevron. I can't work with Benton Dickinson. I can't work with Samsung. I can't work with Kodak, who's no longer business. I can't do those things anymore. I can't do offshore outsourcing, which was taking American jobs, which was kind of playing in my head too, but, you know, heck, it was a living. And I began to play this tape over in my head, and I said, what am I going to do? How many of you have ever been at that place where you go, what am I going to do? Where do I go from here? It was all great when I was heading towards palm trees. I see Florida. I see sunshine, so I thought I had it made. But sunshine had a little darkness coming for me. Because what had happened was, it was the manifestation of all the disconnects that I had in my life. All the dissatisfactions, even of what I was doing, the so-called job that was so cool, really wasn't satisfying me. Can you relate to that? Have you been dissatisfied? That what you're doing isn't giving you or yielding you what you want to feel, so you say, I've got to feel something different. So you look for a different feeling, only to find out that that feeling is empty too, because you don't know how to embrace the feeling. So I said, okay, I've got to do something. First, I've got to get out of this bed. I have to heal. So I heard a voice outside my head, and no, I wasn't taking the medication for pain, so I know it's okay. I decided not to take that. Good choice now looking back at everything people are going through with the opioids. And I looked at that and I said, no, I'm going to heal myself. If my teacher can heal someone, then I should be able to heal myself. I should have command over this body. So as I laid in the bed in pain, I began to say no to everything the doctors offered me. I was taking a chance. And I dragged myself out of the bed. And I said, I am well. I am a well-functioning being. I am strong. I am healthy. Every muscle in my body is limber and flexible. And I began to put myself back into the feeling of what it felt like when I was happy and free of pain. Can everyone in this room remember a moment, I just want a moment, when you were happy? Can you feel what that feels like? Do you remember how it felt to be happy? That feeling is the feeling necessary for you to command energy and to have the same power that is the fuel that fuels the universe. That happy, elated, joyful feeling. Now that's a tough order, to be in physical pain and say, I want to be happy. 'Cause I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof, right? I mean, how could I be happy? And I made a choice to heal. And that took about 2 months for my mind and my body to have this conversation that said, hey, you're okay. Doctor said, aren't you going to go for the surgery? And I was like, I'm not going for surgery. You're not going to cut me. I'm like, what? No, that's not happening. They said, oh, well, you're going to be back. I said, no, I'm not. And I set my intention on what I wanted. Take a good look. Is there something out of alignment in your life right now that you want to change? Raise your hand. I want you first to make the choice that I choose to change. Say that with me. I choose to change. When you choose to change, you give the universe, you give the creator, you give yourself permission to begin to see things differently. Because if I look at something and I say, this is what I have, this is what I have pain, I have hurt. By the way, I'm not working now, by the way. You can't get on a plane if you don't have a job. So, remember the girl had a plan? I need 5,000, maybe 10,000, I don't know, because it would be nice if I had this money. Now I'm coming down to no money. So I have no money, no job, I'm not in good health, or so my body feels. And everything is blaring in my face telling me, you are not going to be okay. And my son is 10, so I got a kid, a cat, and me. And at the time, we were staying with someone who I knew was the only person I knew in South Florida. And I had moved to her house knowing I was going to get my own place, and now I'm like, well, I can't stay here. So technically, I'm homeless, I'm poverty-stricken, I'm physically unwell, I have a responsibility of a child, and the last thing I wanted to do was call my ex-husband and go, oh, I think you need to come get him. So I had to come up with a plan. Oh, careful what you think. So in the stillness, I had a remembering. And you all have this remembering of who you are. And I remembered something I asked my teacher. Remember, he would just go like this. I didn't even touch him. And people were healed. You needed to know somebody who knew somebody to get to him, and hardly anybody did he work with. He healed himself from a hyperbaric chamber of throat cancer. And he pulled himself out and went on to heal and shift other people. And I was his only student. I was the only person he imparted wisdom to, but I didn't know he was teaching me. I just thought I was sitting with a cool man. This wasn't my world. And in that stillness, I thought, wait a minute. I used to ask him, do you think I'm going to do what you do? And he would say to me, as anyone would say back to you, what your choices are. Remember, you're on track to be a VP. You have free will, everyone. So I said, yes, I'm on track to be a VP, that's right. But in that stillness, I heard myself ask the question, but I asked the question from my knowing. When I said, do you think I'm going to do what you do? That's that pondering you all have. That like, wait a minute, there's more to life. Wait a minute, there's more to this experience. Wait a minute, I'm missing something. I need more. So in the stillness, I made the choice to change, just like you just did. Say it again. I choose to change. You're the director of your energy. So I said, I know what I'm going to do. And I'll tell you what, I popped up in the bed like there was nothing wrong with me. It was like I could have danced around the bed going, I'm healed. Because the joy and the ecstasy of knowing who I was finally began to fill my body. I had the idea that was my soul's knowing. That wasn't my mind calculating and figuring, what am I going to do? How many of you do that in your head? That's a busy place. And thoughts are energy. Words are energy. So I was in the place of lack. So where do you hear my idea? I'm going to open up a spiritual center. I don't have any money. I don't know anyone in South Florida. I can barely walk. I got a kid and a cat. What am I going to do? But I said the idea, and it felt right. And when you get that idea, don't go to other people and say, what do you think? Please don't do that. Because they would have said, you've got a kid, you've got a cat, you're flat on your back, you don't have any money, you don't know anyone in Florida, get the heck back to New York. That's what they would have told me. And I just sat with the feeling of what it felt like to do what my teacher did. I didn't even know what it was he did. I just knew he did something miraculous. And I just came to the terms that I was a miraculous being, because the more miraculous being I felt, the faster I healed. And so a series of events happened, and it went like this. I want to open up a center. Suddenly $60,000 came to me. Yeah. I opened a center. It took about a year and a half for everything to unfold. And I built a business. Now, who do you know in their right mind comes to a state they don't know anybody and opens up a center? To do spiritual readings. Oh, and by the way, I had maybe done 5 spiritual readings in my entire life. I was always spiritual or intuitive or whatever, but I really wasn't reading people. Remember, I was a corporate girl. My father was a restaurant owner. Nothing was near what I was about to impart. And here I am on this new path. I made a choice. And it's like everything opened up. You see, my teacher knew exactly what he was doing when he was sitting there telling me these stories, because he was awakening the parts inside of me that were dormant. When you come to these events, our job is to awaken the parts within you that are dormant. Not to tell you what to do, how to do it. We give you tools, and even if you don't use the tools I share with you today, one day you're going to hear me in your head, because I have some students in the room, they'll tell you, I hear you in my head, Sarah, I swear to God. And you hear me say, this is what you do. I choose to change, and I am a miraculous being, and I am whatever you're going to do. So I open a business knowing no one. How'd that work out? Want to guess?
You're doing great.
I'm doing great. The minute I open the door, there is truth in building and they will come. People came from everywhere. I put a little ad in some local paper in Wellington, and people came. And I remember when the first person sat down, I kind of looked up, I go, I sure hope you people got some information for me, because this is 30 minutes. Okay, and I started. What you hear is no resistance, yes? How many of you would think, I wonder if I could do that? How many of you are going to doubt what you're hearing? Don't you think it's your imagination? Now, there have been days I thought I was a little crazy. The stuff that comes out of your mouth sometimes when you're prompted by spirit is the most unlikely thing anyone could say. And it wasn't like I was walking around the grocery store going, oh, let me tell you, I see a promotion coming for you. And there's a woman who's following you who crossed. I wasn't doing anything like that. I would just go in and sit like I was sitting at a corporate desk. But information was coming. Information is always coming to you. You just have to be in the energy of receptivity. So let's talk about that money. How many of you want to manifest money? Feels good, yeah? I feel like I know that money is good, because money is the universal flow, it's the universal currency. And when I'm in the current of the universe and I'm in the universal currency, everything flows. But the trick to creating the money that we talked about yesterday in class, the trick to creating money is to not focus on the absence of it. We look at what we don't have. We have to focus on what we will do because we already have it. The girl lying in the bed said, I'm going to open up a center. I didn't say, but how can I? I don't have any money. Now, my analytical mind remembered that, but I made a conscious choice to not hold that vibration as what I was going to do in my life and say, money is going to stop. How many of you have something you want to do but you don't have the money? Raise your hand. Do you believe you're meant to do what you want to do? Raise your hand. Do you know that you have always attracted money just when you needed it? You wouldn't be sitting here. You wouldn't be here. You would be on the streets, have no food, something. You wouldn't be here. And even then, even someone who has no roof over their head, they still manage to survive, yes? But it's the paradigm is, how do they want to survive? How do you want to survive? Do you just want to scrape by? How about you? You want to just scrape by? Do you want to be abundant beyond measure? Can we see what abundance feels like? See it. Feel it. Choose the choice of what you want it to be and focus on the feeling of what it feels like to be there. If you see the picture, how many of you can watch a movie and go, wait a minute, the camera's off, or that didn't make any sense? Like, you know, there are people who can see everything wrong. When you look out into the world and you are the observer, I want you to observe, but I want you to feel the feeling of what's in front of you so that you feel what aligns with you, what feels good to you. Not what she's doing, not what he's doing, not what he's doing. What feels good for you? Because now we're on this movement that everyone is spiritual, right? We're waking up. Wake up, America. Wake up, world. We are getting ready for something huge. And some of us are feeling, and everybody feels this way, where do I fit in? How does it work? What am I supposed to do? Little old me? How am I going to make a difference? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then the light bulb goes off. And an idea is going to come to you, and you're going to feel the idea and make a choice. Whatever that idea is. I have some of my students in the room who's gone on to be a reflexologist. I mean, so many people are doing what they choose to do because they felt the prompting. How many of you feel a prompting to something but you're not there yet? How many of you know how to get there? You don't know how to get there? Do you know what you want to do? What is that?
I want to be a deaf doula.
So you want to hold space for those in their crossing over place.
Right.
Do you have an idea what that looks like?
Yes.
Do you know how good you're going to feel when you create that?
Oh, yeah.
Are you of the belief that you're going to attract all the right people to support you in that? Oh, look at her face.
that's my block.
That's your block. I know. Why wouldn't you? If some girl could sit in a bed and make a choice and open a place, why can't you choose to hold space for people so they feel safe in transition back home to spirit? And why wouldn't everybody show up for you just like they showed up for me? I put my shoes on the same way you do, honey, 1 foot at a time. Unless you learn how to jump into high heels, then let me know. You are creating the momentum. The resistance is what? Are you not worthy?
That's the self.
Oh, well, let's go back. Because we have words, we can command the energy, we can say, I am grateful, I am abundant, I am worthy. But then there's a limited belief that's rooted inside from an early memory that makes you feel like you'll be compared, ridiculed, and judged. Yes?
Absolutely.
And unjustly accused, too. You had that, too. That was awful. Oh, my God! Oh, stop. I know, but we got to go there because it's the limited belief. How many of you have been unjustly accused or felt like you were stuck and everyone's going, you, and you're going, heck, it can't all be me. Wait a minute, what part do you want to assume? Do not look to the right. Do not look to the left. I had to think for a minute. Do I have the right hands up matching my words? It was a little scary there for a minute. Oh, good Lord. Oh, so in the moment I'm like, I hope I did that right. See, we broke the tension, right? Laughter is the key. In some of my most special moments, and they've been special, I have learned to laugh at myself. I have learned that laughter puts my vibration in such a place. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. Because you know what you know inside. Each one of you know what you're meant to do. You're going to have a beautiful retreat place. You're going to take care of animals and people, and you're going to have a safe place. I see it. You didn't see it yesterday when you came in. Now you see it better, yes? But I don't know that you feel like you deserve to have all the money somewhere. You're still working on the fact that you don't have the money. And how are you going to convince people to come on board with this plan because little old you can't make the money? Anyone feel like, I have such a big vision, how am I going to do that? Anyone have what they think is a big vision, but you don't know how you're going to do that?
Just do it.
You just do it. But what's the limited belief around the block that's there? What is that belief? When you identify where the disconnect is,
Fear.
it's fear. But where you identify is, well, where did that come from? Because we're in this human body to express who we are to our fullest potential, but they didn't tell you that. They told you to form into the conventional way and the conditioned way. And if you were a rebel without a cause, not a rebel with a purpose, right? Or you were an unruly child. Or you were this different one in the family. Or you became the black sheep of the family. Right? We didn't fit in. So when you create an energy to attract what you want, what essentially you're doing is saying, I'm in tune with me, and I'm in my vortex, I'm in my circle of energy, and as I stay in my circle of energy, everything going on around me has no impact on what I'm doing. Because I'm flowing in the circle of light, I'm flowing in the circle of vision, and when the outside world presents an obstacle, anyone have obstacles? Outside world presents an obstacle, it's something that's to distract you. But if you look at that obstacle and you gotta notice it, it's right there. I can't tell you to pretend it doesn't exist because it's right there. That obstacle is there to reflect to you that you are stronger than that obstacle. That the divine purpose inside of you is stronger, more driven, that your thoughts, that your words can shift the energy, because that is just there to remind you how powerful you are. That you too could just go like that and someone could be healed. That you too could launch a project that would change the world. Yes, you. Thoughts, words, actions, direction of energy. Obstacles are there so that you can see what is there and choose to not allow it to be in your flow. Because in the past, that obstacle would have deterred you, yes? Have you ever had something keep repeating? Same problem. Up we go, down we go. Relationships or finances, up and down we go. What happens is you begin to attract what you're expecting to happen without you even realizing you're expecting it to happen, because it happened once. That's your condition. How many of you have a job, and then some people have patterns, like every 2 years you gotta get a new job, or relationships, they only last a certain amount of time. Do you know that once that happens, that has created a blueprint in your energy, and now you have come to think that that's who you are? So you break the conditioning of what is before you, and you look at that and say, that was then. But in this moment of now, because all you have is now. All you have is now. Anything you don't have that you want now has nothing to do with now. Everything you have is an accumulation of the past that is happening now. What I feel today determines my future. What I felt yesterday brought me to today. So if you look in your life and there's something that is not the way you want it to be, I want you to see how you were feeling a year ago, 2 years ago, where your dissatisfaction was, because you attracted that. Let's go back to my story about my job. I like to teach by stories because I can tell you a whole bunch of words to say, but we have to apply this. So I'm in this big corporate thing, and I'm against the big boys club, and I'm doing everything I can do, and I'm wowing people, and I'm giving great presentations, but in the back of my mind, and I planted the seed for you earlier, hopefully you caught it, I'm thinking, wow, but I'm going to go to this customer service department, and I'm going to say, it's okay. We're going to take all the customer service reps, and you're going to downsize your company, but you, Mr. Customer Service Manager, you're going to get to keep your job, because we do need you to interact with the people in the Philippines or South Africa or wherever we were going. And it's all good. And we're going to save U.S. corporations a lot of money. That's my job. And your callers, they're not going to notice the difference. Oh, that was a little rough for me to sell. And I'm a good salesperson, because I would have to work with the people in the other countries, and I'd be like, what are you not understanding? They're asking a question, and your answer is supposed to be, I'm like, I'm sorry, what language do you speak? And I would feel frustrated. Any one of you have ever called an outside rep, and you're expecting them to think like we think? I could give them all the scripts in the world. It was not working. So they sold me on an idea. Yes, my company sold me on an idea. And my job was to sell you on the idea. And we're like, yay, this is what we're going to do, and it's great. And what is $16 million? What's the commission on $16 million? I'm excited. But then I realized I was taking away, and I wasn't feeling good about that. And then I would talk about things we could do in technology, and then when I really learned how we do technology, I would be like, what do you mean you can't do that? Then why did you write it in the proposal that you could do it? Oh, we're going to do it. That's not what I told the people. It would make me look bad. And suddenly I realized that I was living an illusion. And I wasn't happy. But I had a great job. I loved the people I worked for. I loved them. They were such great people. And the fact that I could work from home, I had it all. But inside I felt empty. I feel good. If at any minute you're feeling empty or you don't feel good, then what you're doing is no longer working for you. You've got two choices. Choose to change, or change will come upon you when you least expect it. So true. And what do you think that push was? They're like, my spirit guides must have been like, oh, she's real special. And she's saying all these things she's dissatisfied with. Remember, it was an accumulation of energy of what I wasn't happy about and what I was really looking to create. I want this fulfilled living, this beauty, this wonderful life that I want, and palm trees, but I'm not happy. I'm not creating what I want. This isn't how I want my life to be. And I was being pulled here and trying to go here, and something had to give. So whatever spirit guide said, oh, she's going down because she didn't get the memo, they brought me down. But it's not an external force, guys. It was the accumulation of the energy. Essentially, I pushed myself down. Wherever you are now, you don't want to be. You put yourself there. It's not a you did good, you did bad. It's an accumulation of energy, and words have power. Thoughts have power. Every single thing that you are thinking at every moment in your entire life is accumulating around you. So when you find yourself thinking, I don't like this, I don't want to be here, this isn't what I want, think, is this really how I feel? Is this what I want? Is this how I want to change? Is this where I want to be? Because if you keep allowing it to accumulate in your energetic field and you're unsure whether you want it, you don't want it, you want to stay, you want to go, I want this job, I don't want this job, I want this money, I don't want this money, I'm healthy, I'm not healthy, I'm eating this, I'm vegan, I'm eating meat, I'm eating fish, I'm pescatarian, I don't even know who I am, a half alien. And you're running around with all this duality of thoughts in your mind and you don't know who you are, then something is going to sweep you up, and then there you're going to be and you're going to say, okay, who am I today? I have no idea. And then in the stillness, the feeling's going to grab hold of you and it's going to say, remember who you are. You are an eternal being. You are a miraculous being. You are a being of light. You came for a purpose, and somewhere along the line you lost yourself in the momentum of the experience, of the illusion, of all the things you thought you were meant to have, which you're not meant to have because you brought it into your vortex and then you said, oh, this isn't me. And if you've ever stood, and I think everyone in this room has stood in front of the mirror and said, this isn't me. Where did I go? What happened here? You lost the feeling of feeling who you are. You lost the divinity of who you are. And suddenly you realize that you are more conditioned than infinite. Unconditional love means love void of conditions. Unconditional acceptance. Universal acceptance. There's no right. There's no wrong. There's no in-between. It just is. And you are allowed to be everything you want to be. And the best part is you can change your mind at any moment. But don't look back and go, I don't know, did I make the right decision? I don't know, where should I go? This is where I am now. This is where I am now. 2 years from now, I could wake up and say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And it's okay. Because life is always evolving. You can choose to change. Say it again, I choose to change.
I choose to change.
I choose to change.
I choose to change.
And I am the director of that change.
I am the director of that change.
No condition determines where I go.
No condition determines where I go.
And no condition determines how high I go.
No condition determines how high I go.
I am an infinite being.
I am an infinite being.
And I'm going to close with some powerful things, and then I'll answer a quick question or two before they pull us out. I am blessed and I am grateful. I am abundant and I am the director of my divine supply. I am manifesting my destiny with divine perfection. I am divine intellect and wisdom. I am unique. I am free of all limitations. I am free of all disease. I am forgiveness. I am surrounded by the invincible shield of light, therefore I am protected. I am perfect. I am at peace and I am in alignment with the universe. I am a pillar of light projecting love into the world. I am harmonious in the flow of life. I am victorious in all I desire. I am an instrument of our divine creator and I am love. I am that I am, and you fill in your name, I am. I am. When you awaken the power that I am is within you, then you are reminded of who your soul came to be. And everything you have endured, everything you have enjoyed has been creating the environment you're in now, but everything is perfect. Do not judge it because everything is preparing you for ultimately where you have yet to go, and you have not even really fathomed the capacity of how great you are. But as long as you feel the feeling and you own who you are and you love who you are, and you realize that everything you are creating is perfect, because it's always preparing you for what is next, you will always be content. You will always be at peace. And you will always be feeling the feeling of joy. And the absence of abundance will never be there, because you will no longer be a partner of misery with lack, a partner of misery with poverty, a partner of misery with sadness and sorrow. You will be content knowing that you are always fulfilled, because the divine flow is always moving through you. And you are operating at your greatest capacity at all times. And you can create. Anyone have any questions for me in the manifestation process? Ooh. I guess that's good, right?
Is that good?
Thank you, thank you. I hope you listen to my radio show. I'm on every Wednesday from 5 to 8 p.m. And it is on WWNN, 1470 AM. I'm heard live in Atlanta. And you can also watch it on Facebook on the SarahSpiritual page. I've been on air, it's going to be my 9th year in May. I've been on national radio, and I hope you stop by my center. I got questions, yes.
Are you located here in Florida still?
I am. I'm in West Palm Beach, right up the street.
And do you have a website or?
Yes, SarahSpiritual.com.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
When I'm clear, I manifest. However, I also bring in obstacles somehow, and I usually ignore them, and I continue manifesting. However, I'm wondering, why do these sort of come and go out of my life, these obstacles?
Because you somewhere inside are conditioned to believe that there always has to be a challenge, there's always an obstacle. And the minute you put your attention on the obstacle, you give it power. You are no longer in the manifestation process. It's like the minute I plug in, I'm in the flow of the current, the universal current of electricity. The minute I unplug because there's an obstacle, or there's a rainstorm, and I don't want my grandmother used to unplug the toaster. I never figured out why, but that's okay. So then you plug it back in, and you're back in the flow. So you're expecting, because you said an obstacle always comes. The minute you expect that, you begin to create that flow. So everything's always fine. I am always in perfect alignment. I am aligned with destiny. I'm aligned with my purpose. I'm aligned with my vision, and everything I'm creating is in the universal flow. And there's no focus on an obstacle. Yes?
Like an example, I'm on a wall, and like no way out. I see a way, let's say, I see a ladder that I can climb and get out of that wall.
Right.
But I just don't feel like doing it. Why am I not willing to change?
It's not that you're not willing, you're not ready. You're not ready. I'm in a wall, and you're uncertain if that's really the best choice for
Because
you.
before, I used to not see the exit out. Now I see an exit out. But I just...
There's something else
I
you're
feel
still
like
holding on
maybe-
to. Yep, there's something else you're not ready to let go of. And so that's the question to the universe. Show me what I need to recognize that needs to be released. Because remember, if you don't release it, the accumulation of energy is going to make the shift with or without you. That's why I'd rather you choose to change. I choose to change because whether you know it or not, unconsciously, subconsciously, energetically, there's been energy building to create the change. So when you're recognizing there's energy building and I'm stuck and I'm stagnant and I'm not where I want to go, and I know there's an opening, but I'm unsure where to go because the fear of the unknown, it's better to have the devil you know than the devil you don't know. So you're like, okay, is that really a better choice? The worst that happens is you climb up the ladder, pop up the hole, and you go, oh, okay, you could go back down. Or you could look to the right or the left and go, oh, but now I know why I'm up here. It's not for what I thought. It's to just put me over here. You go that way. You're not ready yet, but you're getting ready to be ready. And that's what you say to yourself. I'm in alignment, I'm getting ready to be ready, and I feel it, and the minute it's there, I'm gonna know, and there's no resistance, I'm open, I'm gonna move, I'm gonna go. And I think it's time for me to go too. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm Sarah Spiritual.